Let's take a look at this final program project. Um, the whole idea behind this project is to synthesize, to bring things together, to integrate what's happened so far. And by integration, I'm thinking of both the readings that people have been involved with, the cohort conversations, the intensives, the trainings themselves, the projects, the ongoing learning that's happening while you're working in your community. All of these different things, uh, we're trying to bring those together. So, and the other integration I think that's happening is we want to be an integration of that which is spiritual and that which is more practical. And so the hope is that at the end of this, you can tie kind of a theological framework um, into your practice and to have some tools to kind of help you move forward in that. Project goals are really quite straightforward to provide, to articulate that theological framework, to continue to acknowledge contexts, um, to be able to demonstrate how this is applicable in various settings, um, to summarize who and what and how people, experiences, all those things have shaped your perspective and your journey. And then finally, to develop a resource for yourself so that you can use it in the future. Um, we don't want this to be the document that just gets stored on the shelf. And just as a sidebar, that's why we've designed the project this way. We think that it's actually useful and that it's going to help folks think about some stuff now, but it will also be a tool that you can come back to later on in um, 5, 10, 15 years. We've had it. I've seen it so many times, myself included, where you spend all this time on a thesis, on a comprehensive exam, and you never go back to it. It's kind of irrelevant. So we're trying to make something, create an experience that's relevant for people. Obviously, there's some unique perspectives from a CTM BGU standpoint. Those are that the whole idea of this is that it's written the whole concept of theology, spirituality, leadership from below. This isn't all about power. This isn't just think about the charism and the perspective that we've dealt with from the start. We want to be personal from the heart. We don't want this just to be a flighty uh, head thing. We want it to be of the heart as well, and that it's meaningful for you and captures the essence of who you are and what your experience has been. But we don't want to completely disregard the mind. We want people to think about who are some of the influences, what are the perspectives along the way that have shaped who you are. Um, we've read a lot of stuff, we've played with a lot of different types of ideas, and hopefully you can continue to articulate some of those things, those that are important to you. And then finally, we want this to be something that's unique to Kenya. We want this to be, we don't want you to have to um, put on this face of trying to impress an institution that's in America, but rather we want this to be a reflection of your experience, your lived experience in Kenya. So those are kind of the highlights of the program project. What we've done is we've broken it down into five different phases. So the first phase is really, it's called the annotated bibliography, but it's a compressed set of book reviews, basically. So what you'll do is go back and think about what books you've read throughout the program, and you're going to pick 20 of those books. And what you do is you're going to, first of all, do a bibliography page so that they're listed, um, and we'll have some resources to help you get the right listing for that. But then what you're going to do is just simply summarize the book. And the hope then is that when you or others need to think about, where's a good idea, where's a good book for me to think and expand on this idea? Um, well, you'll have a document then you can go back to, or others can go back to, and it will be in some ways kind of a paraphrase of the book, but it'll also be talking about how it impacted you in your context and in your ministry. So that's really a review. It's not reading 20 new books. It's going back and thinking about books both in this program, but possibly outside of this program too, that have had a significant impact on your theology, on your view of leadership, on your view of Scripture, on your view of your community. Um, that we're hoping to complete by March of 2011, and the hope then is that you can um, you'll turn that in, and then we'll continue to move on in the project. So that's phase one for March. The second phase is really a reflection paper. It's a glorified journal. Hopefully, it's a little bit more broad than just simply a course journal. Um, but through this reflection paper, what you're going to do is kind of highlight what your spiritual and leadership journey, what that has looked like. Who have been some of the major players? What are some of the major perspectives that have influenced you? It's really a snapshot um, on your life and how you have come to be who you are today. In the sense of your spirituality, your faith, but also in the sense of your perspective in your community, and also as a leader. So and there's some guidelines for this, but what you want to do is kind of highlight some of those significant moments along the way, and then to be able to kind of tie them together and say, how do these separate moments come together to contribute to who I am as a leader and as an urban minister today. So that's phase two. That will come in around June of next year. So what you'll do is you'll turn these things in through the Sakai, the website, and you'll be graded. You won't be graded on them. You'll get feedback on them, and then you will resubmit all of them, having looked at the feedback and done some stuff with the feedback at a later time. So this is when the first draft comes through. So we'll have the first draft of the bibliography in March, the first draft of the reflection paper in June, and then the next piece is to think about the philosophy of ministry, and that will come November of 2011. So this is a whole year away, but it's important that folks start thinking about stuff now. This is really to not only think about just your own experience, your lived experience, but also what are some of the principles, perspectives that you have really resonated with and have really come to cherish in how you look at your community and how you look at your work and how you look at your commitments. And so this is, whereas the other one's a little bit more based on your experiences, this is really more about different ideas that are out there. It could be theoretical, it could be just something that, an author introduced in a way that you'd never really thought about it before, but all of a sudden, wow, that makes sense to me. I want to, that makes perfect sense to me. I want to continue to demonstrate that and exercise that. And then the next piece of that is to begin to hone in, now that you've kind of taken some of these perspectives, you've taken your experience, what is it that defines your approach to ministry? What is it that makes your approach different? Having kind of gone through the work of the significant experiences, the significant perspectives that have shaped you along the way, now, as you look forward, what is it that makes your theology your theology? What is it that makes your vision of leadership your vision of leadership and not somebody else's? And the next step then is to articulate this philosophy of ministry. So you'll turn that in November. In January, you're gonna turn in just a reflection. Basically, one of the things that will happen along the way is you're going to be working on this by yourself, but you're also going to be checking in with other members of the cohort, with folks here in the States as well. So just a reflection on what it has been like to work with your peers on something like this, and to think about, um, where did people see inconsistencies, to be kind of held accountable by our peers in this, not only in just our work, but how, um, I mean, we've been walking together for at least, what is it, 4 or 5 years now. So it might be interesting if you're writing in a certain way, and your peers and other leaders are saying, wait a second, that doesn't really reflect you. Or yeah, that's it, you nailed it. That's really what you're all about. That's what I think of when I see you. Um, to really to think about that, to reflect on that a little bit, and the whole process of inviting others into your learning community. So that will happen next January. Uh, After that, you'll have had all of your work will have come back to you at that point. You'll have your bibliography back to you. You'll have your reflection back to you. You'll have your philosophy of ministry back to you. The next step is just to simply rework those things, to take into account the feedback that you got, to fix mistakes. This is probably going to be one where we're more sticklers on grammar. We want this to be a polished piece, and we're going to help you along the way. Um, but know that it's going to take some extra work, that you're going to be doing multiple drafts of things. You're not going to just turn in something and call it good. We'll give you feedback, and then you'll resubmit it at the end. And that's really the last phase, is to put it all together and to send it in for the final time. And from there, that's where we think, we laugh, and we celebrate together, and we think about where we've been, but also think about the future, what CTM Nairobi looks like, and what this network continues to look like, and all the exciting stuff ahead. So that's just a little sneak preview of the final program project. Um, there is a syllabus available that has all of this information as well, but I just wanted to offer a little personal touch. I wish I could be there with you in person and we could talk it through, but that's just not feasible right now. So I think that's about it from my end, but I hope that you are all doing well. Thank you for many of your emails along the way, just little updates and reminders that you're thinking of us over here in the same way that we continue to think of you over there. And once again, just um, great work, all of you in this program. You've come so far, and we've learned a lot together, myself included, and Chris and Jeff and Ron and Stefan and Scott. We've learned a lot with you along the way, and it's been an absolute pleasure, and we look forward to the next year and a half, and then whatever else God brings beyond that. We look forward to that time together too. So thank you all, and I wish you all the best. Greetings to your families, and to your churches, and all of our friends in Nairobi. All right, take care, everybody.